market, you've reached out, you've booked meetings. I want to talk about that initial discovery call for agencies specifically, what to say on that first call to actually turn it into a proposal. In the agency sales process, there are a few steps. The first one is getting that initial meeting on the calendar, discovery call. Normally that leads to a proposal, which then leads to a contract, and then leads to a sale. So we want to talk about getting that initial call to proposal here. And I'm going to go through an exact script and keep watching till the end because I'm going to have a download for you of this script that you can use on your own. So let's jump into it. So you'll start these outbound calls very similarly to the way that you start an inbound agency call. And there's a few specific differences that we'll get to in a second. But it starts the same way with the introductions, like great to talk to you today. How's the weather in whatever city you're in? Like any of those normal getting to know you type intro small talk questions. Those are what you start with for the first couple minutes. And then here's where it gets a little different. On these discovery calls, if you're following the process we went through in either the cold calling video or the cold email enterprise companies video, you're following a process of telling these clients about a case study you did for a very similar client and then asking about their problems. So this is where you talk about that case study. And you talk about it as quick as you possibly can. I would limit this to a minute or two. No presentations. Don't whip out a deck and show them images unless they ask for it and are super interested. Otherwise, this is just going to bog you down. So there's three things you want to hit. One is, what was the problem that the client had? The solution your agency found, and then the results. So what was the app that you built? And then what happened? Specific results with return on investment in there are ideal. Otherwise, just kind of tell them what happened. And then once you explain that to them, you ask them a very simple question. Have you struggled with similar issues when it comes to issue? So for instance, let's say they're a hotel and you built an app at your agency for another hotel that was like an Uber clone for calling taxis to and from the hotel. So the issue that you were tackling was getting customers to the hotel itself. So have you struggled with similar issues when it comes to your customers' transportation? And if they say yes, then you can keep going. If they say no, I'll go over what to do in a second. But if yes, then you ask, would you be open to hearing more about our process and how we could do similar for, Marriott hotels? And the interesting thing here is if they say yes, they're open to hearing more about your process. Now this is just an inbound call, right? You can say the exact same stuff that you normally say when you talk about your process, like your founding story, the type of apps that you worked on, the bullet points that you normally go over. I wouldn't do a deck on this initial meeting at all, but you could, in theory, pull out your deck at this point in the call. And then at the end of the call, you end it with, I'd love to take all this back to the Faction Studio team and come back with a proposal for how we could fix the transportation issue. Would you be open to that? Simple ask that will lead to a proposal. And because you've had this whole conversation already, it's basically an inbound call. So your sales team or you should know where to go from there. If they say no to that previous question. So when you ask number 3, which is, have you struggled with a similar issue when it comes to getting users to your hotel in the past? And they say no, then you jump to this next part, which is an open-ended, what are your goals for 2017? Or something customized for their exact position. So let's say they're in concierge at the hotel. What are your goals for 2017 for the concierge department? Leave it as a pretty open question. Take notes of the goals. Identify one that could be solved with software. And then you transition to the next part of the call. Let's say they say something like, one of our goals is to improve brand awareness. Like we're getting totally outshined by Holiday Inn and Marriott really needs to do better. So you can look and think of a case study that's similar to that and then come up with it. So brand awareness was a similar issue that Days Inn was having. That's another one of our clients. And then you go through those 3 things again that you went through in the original case study, the client's problem, the solution your agency found, the results, right? Tell them another case study. And then you ask them the same question again. Would you be open to hearing more about our process and how we could do similar for your company as related to that second case study? And if they say no, then you move on to the next goal on their 2017 goals list. They probably said 2 or 3. And if they said yes, then it becomes the inbound call again. You do that presentation. And what you basically want to do is rephrase the goal, present the case study, ask if they found it valuable, ask for feedback, and then ask for the proposal. So once the goal with the software solution is identified, you say again, I'd love to take this back to the agency team to come up with a proposal for how we could fix XYZ issue. Would you be open to that? And when they say sure, then you take it to the next part of this call, which is, would you mind setting a time now to run through it? They'll look at the calendar and they'll either set a time or they'll say to coordinate over email later. And then right before you go, you say, hey, before we go, typically these type of projects run between 150 to 250,000. Does that ballpark work for your technology budget? Whatever their answer is to this will determine how qualified they are for the final sale. And the reason why I stick it right at the end of the call is psychologically you want them to be super invested in the conversation. Before you talk budget or anything, they've already heard about the company. They've already identified goals that would be valuable to solve with software or marketing projects or anything like that. And at this point, budget is kind of a triviality, right? As long as they have the money for you, you're going to end up getting that budget. And if you qualify and figure out their budget and everything before you hop on the call, it shouldn't be a problem at all. And if you do find out that the budget is way too high for them, well, good thing you figured it out now and not 2 weeks later after your team has put together this proposal for them. Hopefully you found this valuable. If you did, feel free to like this video to encourage this type of content on YouTube. Leave a comment below. Tell me what you think of this script, or implement the script and let me know where it's breaking down. If you want a download of it, check out the comments or the description field below. There's going to be a link to a download of this exact script that you can use and pass around. And if you need marketing support for your digital agency, check out experiment27.com. Subscribe to this channel for more B2B sales training, and I will talk to you later.